Nishtasya karmasu yukta swapna avabodhasya yogo bhavati dukhaha, says Sri Krishna. Moderation in everything, in your eating, in your resting, in your moving around, in your sleeping, in your waking, in your desires and the actions that follow. All these should be done in moderation, and that is yoga. And following that kind of yoga, all our sorrows are destroyed, says Bhagavan Sri Krishna. While we were on this trip, in one of the events, somebody very concerned got up from the audience and asked this question. Swamiji, you are always telling people to follow spirituality. You are inspiring young people to take to this path of social service. You are teaching the spiritual texts in your schools. But if everybody goes this way, then who is going to run the world, he said. Who is going to run offices and businesses and governments? How is the society going to be doing anything if everybody goes your way? And I told him that I am not saying take to the path of extremes. The middle path, the balanced path, the golden mean, as they say. A balance of both spirituality and the worldly knowledge, and accordingly the actions that follow, in moderation, would be the solution to all the problems in the world. I learnt a new word from the Oxford Dictionary, which has been added recently. It's called brain rot, which means you keep watching some useless social media content, so much so that your brain starts rotting. Because it doesn't stimulate anything in your brains, it does not activate any neurons, it does not make any new synaptic connections. It is simply letting the brain lie dull, and when the brain, which is like a muscle, is not used, naturally it starts declining and rots at the end. On top of that, if you watch negative content, which does not even give you any kind of inspiration, rather drags you down into negative zones, that definitely accelerates this process of rotting. There were questions also from parents, concerned parents, who said, how do we get children to move away from social media? How do we dissuade them from overspending their time in just watching some content which does not add to their knowledge or wisdom? And it's so difficult to tell them not to do it because everybody does it, so they argue back. Everybody does it, so why should I not? To them also my solution was the same. Yukta ahara viharasya. Moderate, moderate. If you take things away, they may not agree, but if you do not moderate it, then it will become extremely destructive for the children, for the society. So our scriptures always are very practical. They tell us to moderate our ways, so that you are able to balance both the academic knowledge, the worldly knowledge and activities which are necessary to fill one's stomach and to have a certain respect and status in the society, to do one's duty. But at the same time, never lose the sight of the higher goal of life, which is to attain self-realization through the spiritual path. Like the two wings of the bird, both are necessary to fly. Like the 2 feet, both are necessary to walk. Like the 2 hands, both are necessary to work. Like the 2 eyes, both are necessary to see. Likewise, both these kinds of education are very necessary for every individual. There were very many questions from these intellectuals. And one question that always bothered them was, the youth is heading towards an abyss. They know not of what they are getting into. They have no purpose, they have no direction. Very few are ideal or inspired. The rest of them are just, as I said, rotting away because of wrong habits, wrong culture, wrong activities and company. How do we train? How do we turn the tide? How do we ensure that the youth of the country are not wasting away? The answer is again the same, the right kind of education which balances both the academic pursuit and the spiritual pursuit. That is the only solution. The only solution to all the problems of the world that plague the world today is the right kind of education given to every child born on earth. Just education is not sufficient, because education can be subject knowledge. But right kind of education is the balance of both. And that's what all the students here are getting. I was in Shimoga, some of these people who received an award for their great contribution to society, they were all very surprised and pleasantly surprised by looking at the children and seeing the kind of education that they are receiving here. And everybody said, this is the model, this has to be replicated, this is the only way we can save the society, save the future generation. I said, yes, but for that, the parents, the society, and all the stakeholders of the society must come together and encourage people to become educationists. We need doctors, we need engineers, we need politicians, we need all kinds of people in the society. But the most important people in the society are teachers. Teachers who can teach them the right kind of values, which makes them understand the value of things that they have, including an opportunity to get educated and come up in life, and also pursue the higher goals of life, not just selfish, greedy, self-centered ambitions, but something that impacts and improves the lives of all the people around them. That kind of education alone is the solution. Why government is not doing it? Government is bound by several rules and regulations, which are again formulated by people at the helm of affairs, who are voted by the people in the society. And in a democratic country, it goes by the majority. So difficult to make big changes in all these things. You can at best make a suggestion that this is the kind of education you must provide, like the national education policy does. But its implementation is far from being done anywhere except here, where it's being implemented in the letter and the spirit of it. But most of the other places people shy away. Then there are corporate education systems where the education is a commodity and everybody only buys and sells education. And the only goal of that education is to get you ahead in the race. That's the only way you can satisfy the parents who are the customers. And that is the only way the schools can run, because they are the vending machines of degrees. So there is no other way for them. They cannot move away because they are into the business of education. And if that business is to be run as business with profits, they'll have to simply do what the pressure of the parents ask them to do. They cannot do anything other than that. So leave them aside. Governments have their handicaps, corporates or corporate-like education system has its own limits. Then what about the religious institutions, they asked. I said most of the religious institutions either are getting into a lot of politics to please certain sectors of the society and to then become influential in deciding the politics of the place, or they're also going the corporate way, where namesake boards are there that these are all education institutions run by spiritual organizations, but at the end it's just the trade and business of education that goes on even there. So where is the future? How are we going to change the world? How are we going to make our children any better? These were the questions that were really bothering many people who were meeting me. And I kept on repeating to them, the education system like ours is the only solution. A system where there is a balance of everything, everybody is taught everything. More than anything else, people or children are recognized for the special talents that they have. All are not academically brilliant, but they have their own talents, because God would not create a useless thing in the world. Forget about a thing. How can you have even a human who is the best of the creation, who has no purpose or no use in the world? It's not possible. So everybody is born with some innate talent. Recognizing that and giving an opportunity for them to grow and develop that talent would add value to the society. But then the question comes, if they learn music and dance and Vedas and Sanskritam, what kind of earnings will they have in the future? Who will give them job? Who will give them employment? And what will be their future like? All these questions bother the parents again. Again, we come back to the same thing. If this education system is modified, we would need teachers who know Vedas, who know dance, who know music. So the education system itself will become a refuge to those who are graduating from this. But all these, can it be changed overnight? No. Because too many people are involved. It's so difficult to change everybody's mindset. What is the only way? You don't get into the politics of things so that you don't have to listen to anybody's things. You can do your thing. You don't get into the corporate like philosophy where money runs the place. So you have to oblige every time to the people who give you the money to run the place. Our system, which is totally free and away from all the governmental controls, that is the only way we can implement everything in the true spirit of it. And this is the only solution I kept on repeating to them. And they kept on asking me, how is this going to sustain after you? You are here, okay, you are still there for some time, but after you, what's going to happen? Will these continue? What's going to be the future? And I told them, lot of youngsters are getting ready. They're all joining the mission. And one by one, they are taking charge of institutions. And slowly, they will take the responsibility of running these institutions in the future. And they might do it even better because they have experienced this education throughout their life. And they understand what works, what does not work. And they are closer to the next generation in terms of their age and all other habits. So it's easier for them to convey this to the next generation. So that is the solution I have. And everybody appreciated that. At least they felt that there is a vision. We are not groping in the dark. There is somebody who is thinking ahead and planning ahead and working for it today, so that there is a future to this world. Otherwise, we will have brilliant, educated, academically capable people, but extremely unhappy and extremely frustrated, and they're only going to create more frustration in the society. The question on mental health in the youngsters, every seventh person in the world is going through some mental disorder or some issue. And teenagers are the biggest victims of it, whose life has just started and they're planning to end it soon. What's going wrong? I said, because they're doing things which they're not happy doing. If they're forcefully fed something that they don't like it, they will vomit it out. Likewise, they're force fed this kind of education which they don't like it, and they keep vomiting it out. In the sense, if they can't, then they suffer to the mental disorders. And they are not going to be happy citizens. So how do you create happy societies? So all these are the questions that society is really now thinking about and they're concerned about. But I was so happy that for everything, the solution lies in the kind of system we run. It may look like a difficult system for those who come from easy lives outside, but this is the only way. If we don't do this, even this is not whatever little we are saving, whatever little we are able to make an impact on, even that will disappear for the society. So who is going to hold the society together then? So this is why there is a huge responsibility. The more I travel and listen to these intellectuals and people who have been there and done that and their concerns, again and again I come back more convinced about what we are doing and why we are doing it. Why is it so important what we are doing, despite whatever be the challenges. So this is truly something that we must all realize here, that we are not just making your lives better, but through you, probably the whole society and the world better at some point in time. And that education, which is a balance of both, is the only solution to the problems of the world. So we are looking forward to you all growing up. The world is waiting for you, where you will take over from here and you will do the right thing in your lifetimes, and thereby you will inspire and impact the lives of hundreds and thousands or millions of children in the future. Otherwise, there is no future. So this is something that I wanted to highlight from this trip, where I have learned. Many other things happened, but this is something that really was on the top of my mind, and I wanted to communicate it to you, that all the discipline that you undergo here, all the training, all the spirituality, as well as your academic curriculum, everything is for a purpose. It's been designed in order to make you a very balanced personalities, and not just personalities who look after themselves and their families, but who would go out to do good for the world. That is what is the reason why you are doing what you are doing here. Only I was in Bapatla, we opened a small hospital there. As whole of the district, can you believe, does not have this kind of NICU and things like this, a district. And they are saying, the MLA who comes and says, probably this might be the most advanced hospital in the district. I said, this is such a small hospital. After all, there was already a small clinic-like thing running there for many years by a family trust. When I met them last year, they all came here, they looked at our things and they said, Swamiji, please come and help us to build this better. A lot of people need our help. There are all those coastal communities of Andhra. They don't have much. They can't afford much. They can't go to city and get things done. Please help. So when I went there last time, we promised that we will help them start a better medical center. But what started as a medical center today, after 1 year, turned into a good hospital with several NICU and critical care, including state-of-the-art modular theater and so on, where anything and everything can be done, all kinds of surgeries. It's in a small little village in which not many people even know about it. There's no airport there, there's no nothing. But that's where this has come up. So again, these people who had sort of working on this, they asked me, Swamiji, the next prayer to you is please send us doctors and nurses. I said, for that you'll have to wait for 5 years. This I could do it in 1 year for you, but for the next I am waiting for our students to graduate. Once they graduate, I will send a few of them to your place. Meanwhile, I will request whoever can come, but you'll have to wait for that. I am preparing. They said, that's a great seva you are doing by educating rural children in the field of medical education, nursing, because there is such dire need of all these people in these areas, because people cannot go to the city and city doctors don't come to these villages. Just to tell you, they said the government with a great effort opened a hospital nearby. The doctors come and go at their whims and fancy. They are available or not available, nobody knows. Sometimes you go, you meet them, sometimes you don't. And if you meet them, you might meet them in their private clinic somewhere nearby, but not in the government hospitals. That's the kind of dedication of the doctors who are working in the government. And private, we know they will not look at you unless and until you have paid your advance fee at the counter. So this is the kind of situation the world is grappling with. What shall we do? Solution is educate the youngsters who are inspired, who are from rural areas, who have the heart to go and give back to the people of the rural areas. That is the only solution. Otherwise, where do you create these doctors from? So when I travel, this is what I see. And every time I come back more and more convinced about that whatever we are doing is the right thing to do. We couldn't have done it better. Giving education to everyone in every field. One person who was a Sanskrit scholar, he was telling that he was inspired to study Sanskrit, but he was not allowed to because his parents were very worried that if he studies only Sanskritam, what will be his future? And I told him, we have an education program where everybody learns Sanskrit, one. Two, we have a proper course, a graduate program in Vedic studies, where graduates can come out of the institution, and I have guaranteed them a job. So their parents need not worry. They will definitely get a job in one of our institutions, because they are very important for us to preserve our culture, to promote it. They are very important. And we recognize and realize the value of that education and such graduates. So we appreciate, and we not just appreciate in theory, but we actually practically take care that they do not have to struggle in their future. This is the kind of system we have created. So every question that was being asked, I was very glad that we could answer it very practically, not just giving a theory that it would be good if this is done, it would be good if that was done. I could tell that this is being done right here and now, and we are actually starting to solve the problem a little every day. Though the problem may look very big, but every big problem starts with a simple small effort to start solving it. And we have started solving the problem. So this education, what I was talking about, and what Sunil is all involved with, is in value education, because most of the other parts of the world, they have their good education system which are churning out doctors and engineers and graduates and postgraduates, but not human beings. And this education, the books that have been created, Be Good, Do Good, See Good, these are books from, I think, primary, even pre-primary, all the way till the 12th class. There are 15 books and one book per year. And they take 10 basic human values, and they go on elaborating and deepening the understanding over the years, starting with first, a 5-year-old or 3-year-old kid, all the way till 16, 17-year-old. All of them get to learn the same 10 values, but it gets deeper and deeper as they keep growing in their years. So this is something that is being launched worldwide. It is getting translated into several languages around the world and contextualizing it to their culture of that country. And I was telling the other day to somebody, artificial intelligence is such a big refuge to us, because if you want to illustrate these things for every country, you have to get an artist from that country to do the same work. But AI does it in no time. Just put it in and say, we want, like I told Bhuvna one day, there was a story of an Indian family, and that had to be now contextualized to Fijian community. I said, we need to see a Fijian family traveling in a bus. How can we show Indian family traveling in a bus in Fiji's textbook? So who will illustrate this? She said, I'll get back to you in a couple of minutes. She called up the illustrator. He did the AI magic, and lo and behold, comes back a picture of a Fijian family traveling in a Fijian bus which has no windows. To that extent, it was detailed. The technology today is a great help, as long as we don't just depend on the negative side of the things, you see. It can also waste a lot of our time. Today, the concern about AI making the children think less, and because of that reduction in their cognitive skills, behavioral skills, all this is going to be a challenge in the future. Because you become lazy, you tell the AI to do whatever, chat GPT to do whatever, and then you don't grow. Your brain rots. It doesn't grow because you're not using it in the first place. So limited use of all this also is moderation. So again, when somebody asked, I said, even AI should be in moderation. You should know what you should use it for and what you should not. So everything in moderation alone is the solution to all the problems. Excess of everything is dangerous. Ati sarvatra varjayate, they say. In Hindi they say, Ati ka bhala na barasna, Ati ki bhali na dhoop, Ati ka bhala na bolana, Ati ki bhali na choop. Means it's no good if it rains too much or if it's too sunny. It's no good if you talk too much or you're too quiet. Always in moderation, if you do things, then you will always be happy in life. You will not be sorrowful, and you will not cause sorrow and misery to others also because of your extremist attitude. So this is the kind of work that is going on. The biggest work I've given for the rest of the world is to develop this value education curriculum and spread it to the whole world. It's for free. We train the teachers for free. Those who are interested can pick up these books available online. There are workbooks, simple activities which families should do together, teachers and students should do together, and that will build a better society with better value. So Sunil is in charge of that, and I told him to build a school in Australia where teachers can get credits for these programs if they undertake these programs. So he's working on a big project. I asked him to tell all that. Other than that, he told everything else. He told what you're doing in Australia and how this is going to make a difference. Tell about it. I wanted him to do that. But I think he was overwhelmed. But don't be too happy. And I can pick up anybody from the crowd anytime. You better be good speakers. And anytime in our institution, anytime everybody should have a 5-minute speech always ready. If somebody asks tomorrow, so many people are going to come from around the world, they may just catch you on the road and ask you which class you're in, tell me something about your institution and your journey. You should be able to say something good, not worry and not be diffident and kind of lose your nerves, not like that. But I was very proud that some of these sessions which happened, of these evening divine sessions, the students came and gave speeches because we wanted the audience to know what kind of education it is, and what wonderful talks. I was very impressed by the children's confidence and the clarity of their thinking, their conviction. Every word is coming out of the depth of truth. They were very convinced about what they were saying, and the audience were mesmerized because this is living proof of what the education system is all about. They may be kids, but they spoke so well, both diction-wise, clarity of thought, and most importantly, their conviction from the experience that they have had. I was very impressed. I felt now, I think these people can take over from here, these kids and teachers. I think they are doing very well now. So also I expect this from every devotee also. Every devotee also should be confident and convinced. So I felt very happy from this trip. Many things happened, but these are some things that were the highlights. How our kids spoke so well, how society is concerned about some of these problems, how the solution to these problems are actually being formed in our institutions right here. And when they ask, who will help us? And I tell them, look at these kids who are growing up in our institutions. They are going to help you in the future. That is how the society is going to change. There is no other way. And they themselves say, nobody else is doing what is being done. It is not to blow our own trumpet or beat our own drums. It is simply to say what it is, the facts. Nobody is doing selflessly this kind of work at this scale. You alone are doing, because everybody else has some agenda, some concern, some lower ideas, but you are working selflessly for everybody's welfare. And you have no reservation that these children should be like this or like that. You are giving them for the society, for its improvement. So this is the best seva that we are doing, is what everybody was saying. And also wanted to highlight that in medical college, as just now Satish Babu told me, see, while we are very particular about spiritual education, we also are very clear that without proper sound academic background, you cannot be here. You have to do well both ways. Academic means, if not academic, sports, whatever your choice of studies or field is. So I was told that for the first time last year when medical students had joined, we had insisted that everybody takes up some research project, howsoever small. And all the students of the first year then, now they are in second year, had taken up projects which are ICMR projects. ICR is the apex research body in medical, Indian Council for Medical Research, which grants projects for various people based on the quality of the application. So all of them had applied, and imagine from a class which our seat capacity is 50, but 11 of these students' projects got accepted by ICMR and will be funded through a grant. So they have already started making a difference. Of course, those which have not got accepted yet, I'm sure in the coming years you can do more detailing and they will also get accepted. And this is a competition amongst 10,000 such project applications from around the country. And we are one of those highest numbers from any particular institution in the very first year of its inception, because we thought every student should have the research aptitude, should investigate, should find answers to problems which exist, but the answers don't exist. They should think. They should not allow their brain to rot. They should make the brain work harder. And that is how you should do. I was in IISc, Bangalore, just the last week. I went to the Brain Research Institute there. And the professor was taking me around and was showing. And it was a very interesting lab where they were showing they had done some research on the brain of a rat or a mice. They were telling how the neural connections develop, the synaptic connections develop, how the learning happens. I was watching that whole video which they were showing on the screen. And I was thinking that this is how our brains get stronger when it does more work. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the better it is. I was just walking and one boy sitting there. He's still there or gone. He got some prize in some memory competition in Turkey. And you know what he has done? He can remember the binary 1010, that pattern. I asked him, what did you get the prize for? He said he remembered continuous 2,500 codes. 2,500, 110011 like that. 2,500. How does a 7-8-year-old do it? He also has the same brain, right? Because he's using the brain, not losing the brain. As they say, use it or lose it. So research makes you use your brains. And that is how you can bring more solutions to the problem, easier, affordable, practical solutions, scalable solutions, sustainable solutions. That's also a part of thing. This year we have also made it compulsory for all the postgraduate students that you will not get your postgraduate certificate unless at least one paper is published in a recognized journal. You will not get your postgraduate degree at all. It means you can, I think other than postgraduates are clapping because they have to do research. So last time I asked them, what research have these postgraduates done? They're still doing. Then finally our professors approved it. I said, no, it has to be in a peer-reviewed journal. It has to be of some global standard. It has to have some standing when people ask questions. So this time onwards, postgraduate students will not get their convocation unless one paper minimum is published in a recognized journal before your post-graduation ends. So post-graduation ends like April for this year's final year batch. You better get your paper going. And how do you get it? Quality paper will always get accepted. So do quality work, quality research. You have got good professors, good environment. And the best part is nobody is thinking in silos here. Everybody is open to work with everybody here. Somebody from Veda can go and work with somebody from the medical field. Who knows how Vedic chants improve your whatever brain activity or anything. Everything is possible under the sky here because we have opened the doors to every possibility. One of our students is doing a bionic research in a bionic lab in Loughborough University in the UK. He sent me his whole work, because he's still yet to get there. But I was reading all his work, the research, and he got a prize in one of the international symposium where he had to present. Where it's a field where how do you spin a ball, cricket ball? You see when you are bowling. So for the sports people, and what should be the trajectory, and all this can be studied, and the muscles that are to be used, the right usage of the muscle and the bone, which will give it the right kind of momentum or whatever the twist, which will make things happen. So it's all scientific study. This is. So he's doing that. So once he finishes, he'll come back and set up a bionic research lab, which is for the sports people, about the movement of muscles and how you can make your sports or game effective and injury free. Very importantly, because a lot of people sports careers are aborted halfway because of injury. So that is the work going on. So while we are a spiritual organization, no doubt, it doesn't mean that we are compromising or not up to the standards of our academic requirements. We have to be better than the best even there. On one side, yes, all the compassion, kindness, humanity, charity, spirituality, perfect. On the other side, the balance of things in doing whatever you have got to do to the very best. That is most important. If you are lazy in the name of spirituality, you don't want to work hard on your other side, that is the career side, your academic side, I'm not going to be happy about it. And through this platform again, I'm seeing, I was looking at the results of some of the schools. 8th standard was not doing well. And I asked, why are they not doing well? And I was given the answer, these are all those COVID time kids, who are at home, and therefore they have not studied well and their foundations are all shaky. I said, COVID happened long back. That happened in 2022. This is 2024. Even if they didn't study in COVID, they were in 5th or 6th class. Now they're in 8th standard. What did we do with them for 2 full years? If we did not make their fundamentals strong. So I said simply, detain anybody who is not getting good marks. Do not promote them. Because what's the point in promoting somebody who doesn't know what he has learnt? What is the point? Talk to the parents, detain them. Tell them you stay another year. As I told MBBS students also, we are ready to feed you for 1 extra year, but we are not ready to promote you without proper knowledge. Then we will be doing disservice to the society. So I'm very clear, no shoddy job, no substandard performances, whoever you are, whatever you are doing. You are musician, your performance has to be perfect. To your standard, whatever is the standard. In sports you have taken, then do well in sports. You have taken up audio, visuals, media, take and do that well. Whatever has been given to you, do it to the very best of your abilities. This is very important. And you have to prove yourself in every of these sectors. So we do not want to be called as an institution where people passes off saying, oh, that's a spiritual institution, it's good only for spirituality, they know how to do bhajans and do some seva. No, we do not want to be called like that. We want to be the best of the best in everything. Because we know how to balance both the worlds. We can live in both the worlds at the same time. That is our special capacity. And all the opportunities that are given on a platter here, without any concern or worry about the future, it's the minimum that you can do for the society, for yourself, for the institution, is to do your very best every day. And how do you do it? Every day. Daily. One of the C's is continuous improvement, isn't it? Every day you improve from where you are. And so every day you put some effort. Every day you grow. That is very important. Please don't be lazy. Some of the people, they laze around thinking somehow we'll cover it up before the exams. After all, what is there in this? No, that's a wrong attitude. We are eating every day. We are sleeping every day. Everything we are doing every day, because those are basic demands of the body. But why are we not doing our very best in everything that is given to us? That's the demand of this institution too. We must be honest. So everybody works hard. Somebody wrote to me, give us extra time to study, especially as the education gets higher. They already have more time than these kids actually, but they ask for more time. I told the same thing. I don't think time is the problem for you. I think concentration is the problem, hard work is the problem. You people get to learn things better when you are concentrating better. Don't come and request me for changing the schedule. Can we sleep at 1 o'clock in the night? And can we skip all the morning prayers? And can we study more? Before exams, we do allow some deviations, a little bit of extra time here and there. We understand you have to revise and things like that. But throughout the year, no. Throughout the year, there is a schedule, because suppose tomorrow you become a doctor. If you are going to work all 24 hours without balancing it with some personal time, some spiritual time, you will go crazy. There will be burnout, and you will be, you will be dead before your patients, because you have burnt yourself out. So what's the point in teaching you an imbalanced life? I want you to learn to balance yourself even then. In the thick of the things also you should have the balance. How do you do that? You know how to allocate your time and how much time to spend on what. Emergencies, I'm not talking. Emergency is a different world. On a regular workaday life, everybody should have a balance. If here only you're asking me for deviations today, how are you going to do it then when you will not even have a warden or elders to tell you how to do things? You have to be on your own. So therefore, no compromise on any of these things. Don't even come back to me and ask me. Shed as many tears you want, write as many letters. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to melt for all that. We are very clear what we are doing is the right thing, and this is the only way to do it. Yes, before exams, some extra time will be given, but during the regular hours or regular days, no way. Don't even come and bother me. And why I am saying this? Because I'm trying to teach you how to be a yogi, how to learn to balance things and manage what you got to manage in the time that is available. Make every minute count by working harder, working smarter, with better concentration. Concentration is the key, and concentration comes only to an undistracted mind, which has no other agenda other than the idea that they are pursuing. There is no distraction for them. That mind will definitely achieve many things within no time. Develop that kind of mind. That is a yogic mind. That comes when you have balance of things, how much you eat, how much you sleep, how much you rest, how much you are awake, how much you are active, how much you are inactive. Everything should be in balanced proportions. If you do that, you will live a long, healthy life. Otherwise, you will suffer very soon. Unfortunately, as I said, I personally, in my own life or whatever so far, haven't been at least this way of allocation has never happened. And I can already see the effects of it. So why should you suffer, or why should you go through anything like that when you have better opportunity to do things better? So you have to balance everything. That is true yoga. And if you can set this example for all the others to follow, the first generation sets next generation and the next generation, it becomes a culture, it becomes a habit. So we don't have to argue on this again and again. So all of you have a responsibility, of course, to inspire the next generation, but more importantly, when you finish your graduation, the whole world is waiting. They're waiting for doctors like ours. They're waiting for nurses and paramedics like ours. They're waiting for teachers and professors like ours. They're waiting for musicians and scientists like ours. They all are waiting for people like us. And you have a great, great opportunity. And never fear that you'll be any less in the future compared to anybody else studying in any other premier institutions. Don't be under that false delusion. You will do much better than everybody else, both your career wise, academically, as well as whatever you need in your life also will come to you by God's grace. May not be greed, may not be more than what you need, but whatever you need, that will be taken care of. You do not worry about that. Focus completely on the present. Do your very best every day. Remember that every minute here has been gifted to you by people's sacrifices. I don't want to make Sunil Naidu a hero on the stage, but since he told I did not want to be highlighted, I will all the more highlight him. I told a couple of Australians a couple of weeks ago that next year there is going to be a huge function, you see. And a lot of kids are going to stay here for 3 months. I don't have accommodation for everybody. They all stay in Kalyan Mandapams outside. Then I have to bring them by bus. Every time they come and go, there's a danger anything can happen. These are kids after all. I need more accommodation. I want to raise a floor or two up in every place. So when I told that we want to raise a floor for our Gurukulam here, I told Sunil, you take the lead, talk to some of the Australian devotees. At least if we raise a floor up, another 150 students, teachers can stay there. He said, yes, Swami, whatever is the requirement you tell me. I told our engineers, project team, talk to him. He said, yes, we will talk to him.